How's it going, guys? So, ooh, that's a lot of reverb for a stand-up comedy. That shit doesn't really work for my stuff. Yeah, I know, what's up? Anyway, so, I was grocery shopping as one does, and I was walking through Walmart the other day, and I went down the cereal aisle as I often do, and I saw a cereal I haven't seen in years called Cookie Crisp, and I was like, I didn't even know they made that shit anymore, and I was looking at it, and I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I haven't seen an ad for that forever, and I realized the number one thing that changes in our lives is commercials on TV. I mean, like, I used to see the Trix Bunny, all sorts of shit, like that freaking, dude, like the apples and like the cinnamon stick, like they were like constantly competing and shit. Like, you never see the cinnamon anymore. What happened to that shit? Those are the important questions we should ask our government, like, yo, why are you filtering our kids' cereal ads, motherfucker? I like that shit too. I steal a bowl every now and then. I'd like to know what the fuck's up. But I fear that if we don't change very soon, that our planet's not going to be here for the generation after the next. And all the time I have these wildly ambiguous conversations with myself about how I feel that like the world leaders are going to communicate 40 years from now. And I think it's going to be one central government. I think there's going to be a government of the world, like no presidents, no like freaking Führers, no freaking, you know, it's just going to be one dude and then like a chairman around him that like makes shit up. I mean, like, I feel like the secretary will run in and be like, Sir, depression rates are through the roof, we gotta do something now. I really think we should give these people a means of like really curing their problem and like give them like free healthcare so they have access to antidepressants and therapy sessions so they can really be, you know, more healthy as a person. And you see the guy that you never see his face, he always got his like back to you and he's like leaned back, he's just like, no, that will never work. In fact, I know what we'll do. Every overpass will raise the fences to 8 feet so nobody can jump off of them. Perfect, problem solved. And then a couple years go by, he's maybe booted out, maybe there's like a term limit still, I don't know, something weird, like hoping it's not like a dictatorship. But the same conversation comes up and the friggin' same secretary comes in and he's like, sir, it's bad now, it's like up to like 70%, like, whatever you're doing ain't working, like we should really do something about this. And he's like, I've got another plan. Raise the fine for somebody that commits suicide to an exponential rate so they'll never do it. Genius. But I mean, like, also, like, they'd have, like, the environmental concerns in hand. They'd be like the one, like, the hippie dude runs in and he's like, dude, there's no more bees, man. And he'd be like, go shake some flowers on some flowers, we'll figure it out, we'll get through this. They never fix anything, they just fucking patch it up. They're like freaking, they're like the fucking Phil Swift, like, Flex Sale is like taking over the world. It's like the number one, like, endorsed product, like NASCAR cars, like, my NASCAR car's put together on Flex Tape, dude! Like, there's like stupid ads. Like, if you've watched Black Mirror and seen some of like the TV shows they watch on that show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It hits too close to home. Like I swear to God, I was watching that show the other day, and there's this episode where like fat people are like slaves, and I'm like, that's a terrible idea. Why wouldn't you choose the fit ones? Fat people are lazy. Like, obviously they're fat. And then I'm like, I looked down and I'm like, oh. That one hit real close to home. I was like, well, I'd be in the yellow jumpsuit sweeping up trash, you know, but I'd have a job. I mean, hey, maybe that's the big thing. Maybe as government changes, there'll be so many jobs like flower shakers and fucking fence builders on like overpasses and like some dude that's like in Antarctica like blowing a fucking fan at like the glaciers, like trying to keep the last polar bear alive from fucking drowning. And then they come out with some crazy shit like, polar bears are vegan now! And you like look at them like, no, I don't think that works. And they're like, no, most definitely. We've showed them the way of berries. And you go, well, where do polar bears live? And they go, Antarctica. I've never fucking seen a bear in Antarctica. I see fucking polar bears, dude. Like, give them something, and then everybody, like, then it comes out, they're like Soylent Greens. If anybody's ever seen that movie, you know what this is about to go to. Maybe instead of constantly burying people, they start stacking graves. But then even that's a problem, because 400 years from now, 25 people stacked high, they start floating up in floods, and it becomes a problem. And the world leader looks at his crew of people in a circle in his eyes wide shut meetings with like an orphan sitting in the middle of the chair or whatever. He's like, God damn it, we need to do something about this. And one guy goes, maybe we do extra tax levies, and with the money that's generated, we could burn it, and then we'll have fossil fuels for the next generation. And then somebody goes, that's an excellent idea, but I think I have a better one. He goes, what if everyone that dies, we feed to the polar bears that are stuck on their iceberg? And then, bodies start piling up, and then, the problem that I see with this is polar bears are getting a taste for human flesh, and I've seen them swim. It's not like giving a crack addict being like, oh, you're addicted to crack, well, here's some fucking heroin, dude, get off the crack, dude, you should be shooting up horse, what's wrong with you? And then you find out, if you could have a time machine, you go into the future, it'd be like Idiocracy. They'd be like, this man quit smoking with heroin. And you'd be like, I don't think that's better. And they go, well, it's fantastic. He chose to kill himself faster for the polar bears. Have some respect, you fiend. You and your fancy time machines, we got rid of that shit years ago. And you go, why? And they go, we don't like to visit the past, you infidels. And it's like, you ever go to the future? They're like, no, we're fucking this up too bad for a future. It's like, you step out and it's just a black nothingness. And you're like, okay, cool. I'm going to go back to 15 minutes ago when there was a planet. So they have earthquakes happening in California. They just had a submarine underwater explode. And they're like, no correlation. Nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with it. And then if you look at Google Maps, they're doing a lot of drilling for oil in California. And I'm like, okay, that's something you should do. There's this line that we've already said, it should have cracked off 100 years ago, and you guys are going to start fucking putting holes right on it, like fucking... It's like, if you've ever worked in wood shop, the best way to use a bandsaw is to add a bunch of little holes and then run the saw through it. There's less resistance. I think they just want another Hawaii. They're like, hey man, tourists... I mean, 1,000 people, every second are going to die, but I mean, in 25 years, when we rebuild the trees and stuff, we could put hotels on it and make enough money to maybe fly more bodies to Antarctica to feed more polar bears. And then you find out that the fucking penguins started eating people, and now they're all fucking ravenous. And everything's evolving to eat people, and then that's what's gonna wipe us out, is our stupid ass government constantly feeding the dead people because they ran out of places to put them to all the animals. Deer are gonna start coming into town and jacking kids out of strollers, dude. It's gonna be fucking terrible. I thought of all this while I was high. I have to say, I was under the influence of marijuana, and my mind runs when I do that. So I don't run when I do that. Clearly, just mine. It's just like a hamster and a wheel, dude, just constantly spinning. But then I thought, well, the hamster's gonna eat my brain, dude. They got a taste for humans. You started. Soylent Greens is a thing, people. It's gonna happen if we don't do something quick. Thank you all very much for listening to me.